Tyneside song, the keel row, is part of the heritage of Northumbria, a proud heritage of song, beauty and tradition. This ancient kingdom, reduced now to a corner of England, is still in some indefinable way an entity with a personality of its own. From the quiet of Durham Cathedral, through the busy streets of Tyneside and north to Holy Island, the spirit of Northumbria still lives. The Holy Island of Lindisfarne, seat of Christianity and home of St. Cuthbert, could almost be said to be Northumbria in miniature. 3 miles from the mainland, the island is reached at low tide in almost comedy fashion by taxis. These ancient cars cross over laden with sightseers and holidaymakers eager to enjoy to the full the amenities of the island. Holy Island is very much a place with a life of its own. Magnificently capped by its castle, the island stands oblivious to the customs of the mainland, peopled by those whose forefathers have lived there for generations before them. Water for the 250 islanders is pumped from a solitary village well, so woe betide any visitor who expects a hot bath in the morning. To make carrying easier, the buckets are taken home in a wooden frame. Almost pagan customs survive on this island, which progress has in many ways passed by, particularly after a wedding has been solemnized in the little church. As soon as the happy couple leave, the bride must jump the petting stone, otherwise who knows what bad luck will come. Then, followed by practically the whole population of the island, the bride and groom move towards the gate. But what's this? Old Dick Douglas is tying it up, and only a traditional cash transaction would persuade him to let the newlyweds through. Once they are out of the churchyard, the fun really starts as the sportsmen of the island loose off a salvo. But the ritual isn't over yet. The groom feels quickly in his pocket and scatters his loose change for the children to scramble for. Unperturbed by all this revelry, the castle stands on its great tooth of a rock where it has stood for centuries. For Northumbria is a kingdom of castles. On the mainland, and visible from Holy Island, is Bamburgh, once the home of King Edwin of Northumbria, and the chief city in a kingdom which stretched as far north as Edwinsborough, now corrupted to Edinburgh. Bamburgh village was the birthplace of Grace Darling, and she lies hard by the church she must often have attended. Incidentally, the lifeboat as we know it today is a Tyneside invention, and all around the coast men launch their lifeboats to rescue those in peril on the sea, keeping up a tradition of bravery and selflessness which started on their own shores. But if the sea is in the blood of every true Northumbrian, so too is music, and no part of England has a greater wealth of song and folk tunes. Living in magnificent Alnwick Castle, the Duke of Northumberland has his own personal piper, much as do the chiefs of Scottish clans. But here the similarity ends, for for the music is the music of Northumbria, and the pipes are the Northumbrian pipes, blown not by the mouth, but by bellows. The present piper to the Duke is Jack Armstrong, the best known exponent of this ancient instrument. Northumberland has a beauty such as many people only dream about, yet it is very little known. Great vistas of beauty that can best be appreciated with one of her beautiful songs. Ada Alsop knows well the folk music of her native northeast, and what better accompaniment could anybody wish to pictures like these than the lovely old folk song, The Water of Tyne.
I cannot get to my love if I would give. Oh, water of Tyne, run between here and here I must stand in my
Down the Water of Tyne towards the great shipyards, yards which have built many of the famous ships whose names have an honoured place in our seafaring history. And what of the men who build them, the Tynesiders? They work hard and play hard too. The Geordie knows how to enjoy himself all right, especially at the great fair on the town moor, one of the highlights of Newcastle's annual race week holiday. Race week itself culminates in the Northumberland Plate, the Pitmans Derby, held amidst the pleasant surroundings of Gosforth Park. Not quite the same as the old Bladen races, but perhaps that's just as well. Sunday morning on Newcastle quayside is another of the Geordie's relaxations. Here is all the bustle of a street fair, where strong men provide amusement and traders the necessities and luxuries of life at as low a cost as you could find anywhere.
Make it 5 shillings, and believe me, I'll treat you. You said 5, sir. The gentleman there says 5 shillings. Who will make it 5 and 6? Gentlemen barber scissors, add in for your expenses, add in for giving your jewels. There's only one person, raise your hand. One spot, and leave the rest entirely. I'm going to make it 10. Who'll give me 6 once on that coat? One spot, raise your hand. You would say? Wait for the Royal Uncovered, which was running out.
The charm of Newcastle lies in its virility. The 4 great bridges overriding the city, the busy station set close by the castle which gives the town its name. Yes, virility with a capital V, that's Newcastle. The 2 levels on which the city is built give strange glimpses of the apparently impossible, like buses riding along the rooftops. Such then is the biggest city in Northumbria. 10 miles away is the popular holiday resort of Whitley Bay, and right next door the little fishing village of Cullercoats, where the fishwives still sing their songs and ply their trade, wearing the costumes handed down from generation to generation.
I'm a Cullercoat fishwife, so happy and free. I live in a cottage just down by the sea. I sell my fresh fish to the poor and the rich. Will you buy it? Will you buy it? Will you buy my fresh? Do you want the second verse?
No, thank you, Henny. There's a customer coming.
Nice crab, Henny. Can I sell you a nice crab now?
How much is a crab?
That big crab's 2 shillings.
2 shillings?
Yes.
And what about
And the lobster's 5 shillings. Now, these are just come out to see this morning. They're fresh boiled.
You're sure they're nice? and
Quite
nice?
sure, yes.
I can do 1 and 9.
No. It's this week, you know. Better work up as this week.
Crabs is one thing, Willix is different.
I'll have a bag of Willix.
Bag of Willix. The Willix is 3 and 6pence.
Have a 6-penny bag.
I'll give you
please.
6 Well, I'll give you a pin to pick them, you know.
All right,
Yes,
then.
we'll give you the pin in free of charge.
One of Northumberland's proudest antiquities is the Roman wall, stretching over hill and dale and linking the forts in which the Romans lived. Such a fort is at Housesteads. Its streets and buildings are still clearly defined, and the ruts worn by the Roman chariot wheels are still visible in the paved way leading to one of the gates. Very much self-contained too, but of later date, is the charming village of Blanchard, built on the site of an abbey, and by reason of its square solidity, remaining almost unchanged throughout the centuries. But while much has remained unchanged, much more has changed. The nearby steelworks at Consett, for instance, could not have been visualized when Blanchard was built. Yes, you know, there's no doubt about it. Northumbria is a kingdom of contrasts. I still call it a kingdom because that's the way I like to think of this northeast corner of England. And so to Durham with its magnificent Norman cathedral. Today is the day before the annual Miners' Gala, the big meeting as they call it. The quiet which pervades the place for most of the 365 days of the year can almost be felt. Tomorrow the whole city will be shut to traffic and 250,000 people will surge through the narrow streets, and as evening comes, the city is prepared. Lodge by lodge, the miners arrive. From the old pits of the west and from the great modern collieries of the east, they come led by their bands and their colourful lodge banners. By next day, the city is normal again. The Cathedral Cloisters are stilled, and all is peace until next year. But now, let us break the silence. Let's go to a barn dance. On the platform is our old friend Jack Armstrong, this time with his barnstormers. And on the floor, the age-old jollification of the dance is well underway in the village hall at Dinington. Modern square dancing owes much to this Northumbrian folk dancing, as you can see, and the younger generation carry on the traditions of centuries, enjoying the complicated figures as much as their forefathers did. Aye, this is the real Northumbria, blending the old with the new, and enjoying every minute of it, hinny.